So I love playing complex characters, classes in MMOs. Something about the high risk, high reward style of play really keep me interested. Hence the downstate champion and the elementalist. I recently came out with a core solo build guide, and when I covered the thief, I spent probably an extra half hour just playing it. No reason, no recording, just enjoying the gameplay. It led me to mess around with some of the builds, and here I am, enjoying everything about the class. The stealth attacks, control, movement, and planning, it was just so enjoyable. I was taking down mobs, dodging attacks, the works. In my experience, some of the newer players avoid playing the thief because of how difficult it can be and a little bit overwhelming. So it led me to ask, is the thief too difficult for new players in 2023? So to figure this out, I am going to be looking at it from the point of view of a new player, trying to take the thief into endgame content, so open world maps, structured PvP, and of course endgame PvE, to really see how it fares. For this experiment, I'm just focusing on the core thief and what utility it has. First, I was messing around in open world, doing map metas, taking down champion mobs, the works, you know, I had a great time. What I found is that it is not something that you can sleep on, meaning the gameplay and what is happening on screen. There is no autopilot here, as a fight can turn south incredibly fast if you are not watching or paying attention.
But did you die?
I ran a condition build that utilizes a short bow and double daggers. I mean, double daggers fits the assassin, thief, rogue playstyle in mind, and I feel a lot of new players would assume that daggers are the best way. Even when taking on difficult mobs, I had escapes to jump away and DPS from a distance with the short bow, and then was able to jump into melee and finish them off. Honestly, even in endgame modes, I wasn't really running into any issues handling any of the mobs, as the thief, when built right, has basically everything that you would need. I feel like the thief skills all lend to the idea of being slippery and calculated. I mean, even with the tricks, deceptions, and preparations, you are rewarded by using skills and abilities in the right manner and striking when you can. This also means that you are punished hard for mistakes. There were times when I slipped up or I didn't take it seriously and got rocked. In my opinion, in the open world, the thief absolutely has viability, but it comes with a pretty decent demand of attention. If you manage it correctly, you can take down most enemies and mobs without even being touched. And this may come as a surprise to new players who are used to straight up combat with enemies. Now they are pitted against tough mobs that hit like a Mack truck, so learning the appropriate movements and timing of attacks will be incredibly critical to their success or to their failure. Next, I went into structured PvP, and again, Core Thief shined in my opinion. Holy crap, I just had so much fun with it. I played mainly as a roamer, utilizing the mobility of the thief to cover distances and looking to overpower weakened enemies as a true assassin would.
Hello there.
I ran a power build, as typically in PvP I enjoy power builds for their simplicity. Dispatching enemies was a breeze, but I will say that came at a cost. Again, if I wasn't paying attention or was not fast enough, I got deleted quickly. Having said that, it wasn't as if I wasn't used to getting decimated as I played an elementalist, but overall it was great fun. It did make me realize why Daredevil with core weapons was so strong and popular. As I was able to cause so much devastation with a core thief, imagine what I could do with an extra dodge.
Imagine if I had a real weapon.
In my opinion, you can do incredibly well as a core thief in PvP. However, the meta nowadays moves so damn fast that there is a learning curve for efficiency level. If you didn't play it right, you were basically useless. If you did play it right, you could be comparable or even better than some of the meta builds that are out there today. This may pose a problem with newer players, as given that the thief is a high risk, high reward class, if you are unsure of how or where to apply yourself best, it is going to be a bad time. That's not to say that other classes don't suffer from that same fate in PvP. However, with the thief, it was either you were an asset or a liability. How much playtime do you have on the thief? Tell me in the comment section down below. Okay, so now I dug into some of the PvE endgame to see how well I could do. I ran a condition build, and essentially a variation of the popular Condi Daredevil build used for raids and strikes, but I had a blast. Now, I ran Vipers across the board, so I was quite squishy, but the stacking poison damage was absolutely amazing. I ran main set daggers, offset pistol for the break bar if needed, but it was surprisingly simple, to be honest. The rotation was fairly straightforward in auto attacks and then the death blossoms, but overall there really wasn't much more than dodging occasionally and then using the venoms and skills off of cooldown. The main problem I saw is that I had very little sustain, and it made it difficult if the support healing was a bit lacking. This only happened like once or twice, so I won't say that it was a massive issue. But it did open my eyes to some of the struggles that a new player may take if they were using the Thief in instance content. Now having to deal with boss mechanics and the rotation, they may get downstated faster than they can react. Playing the Thief in Endgame PvE, I feel like it's pretty rare. I've actually only ever seen a few, so I was curious of really why that was. Perhaps there are other professions that can do the same damage or more while being more durable, or maybe there are just less players playing the Thief when compared to the other classes. Perhaps there is a reason. However, after figuring out the right rotation and dodging attacks, it was great fun. And I feel like new players will have to kind of embrace this learning curve to be able to do well in Endgame PvE. Okay, so here are my thoughts of the Thief. So first, it is a ton of fun. Seriously, pulling off dashing combos, flips over the target, shadow stepping, invisibility was all great fun. My favorite part, of course, is in PvP, when you flawlessly execute someone without them having any kind of retort. When played correctly, it is some of the most fun, engaging combat in the game, hands down. 10 for 10 would recommend. Having said that, you also don't always play correctly, and there was a hefty learning curve to be able to not downstate myself. The weakness of the Thief, of course, is coming from their low HP and low armor, which adds further reliance onto shadow stepping, stealth, and maneuverability. If you didn't figure out how to be evasive to some degree,
gonna have a bad time.
Any type of conditions that were inflicted also were a major threat, as if not dealt with quickly, it could spell demise even faster. This can be mitigated, of course, with some of the traits and the right heal skill, but overall, if you react fast and cleanse appropriately, you were fine. Now, that might be a slight barrier to newer players who are not necessarily accustomed to the fast-paced cleansing, dodging, and all the other features that go into how to play the Thief appropriately. Overall, my thoughts are the Thief isn't too difficult to play in Guild Wars 2, it just takes patience. There is, of course, a massive learning curve to the profession, but if you learn timing, movement, and of course skill usage, you can do fantastically as it. The learning curve also may overwhelm players who are just getting into the game. With the other systems and features that are essentially thrown into your face, on top of getting leveled by every other mob, it could be a bit much. The Thief plays exactly how you would expect it to. It fits the high risk, high reward playstyle perfectly. Luckily, there are plenty of resources to assist new players on how to enjoy the Thief appropriately, what type of builds that they should be looking for, and of course the community is always there to assist when needed. So if you are a new player to the game and you want that sweet stealth assassin gameplay, try the Thief. You'd be surprised how much fun you'll have. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about my favorite profession in the Elementalists, check this video out here. Stay caffeinated, folks.